Good morning, it's Devorah. It's InStory Live. It's Friday morning. It's Erev Shabbat. Shabbat is coming soon, and I just love the feeling of Shabbat being on the way and knowing there's something about the Jewish Sabbath, which is Shabbat, that I think it reminds me that no matter what, we have things we can look forward to. If you think about it, because there's always something that we can look for that brings us more light and more joy. And I don't know, I feel like there's an opening that we can all pay attention to and just let that light shine into our beings. So that's what I want to start with, is what's lighting you up? Where can you find some light to allow yourself to shine? Hi, Anna. Hi, Kay. What does that? So, like, hey, I know you were reading a beautiful book, and one of those beautiful books is the book that Anna published, which is the coolest thing ever. And so, what are those sparks of light? And yesterday I made a spontaneous video while I was walking about what story are you, not just what story are you telling yourself, but what story are you listening to about what's happening in the world? This is a subject that I'll probably be going on and on about for a while, because we get to see that everybody sees the same thing happening and everybody says something else about it. So what's your story? What story are you telling yourself about everything from the smallest to everything about the smallest part of your own life, all the way up to the whole big picture and the deeper meaning for all of humanity? Like, where is your point of viewing? Who do you listen to? And where do you take your point of view from? So, because I'm Jewish, I love to listen to some of my inspirational rabbis. And especially now, because we're going into the holiday of Passover, and the story of Passover, first of all, it's all about telling stories, but it's also about going from slavery to freedom, from constriction to expansion. And a big part of that story is about telling the story. And the question is, what's important about that? And so Rabbi Sachs, who's really beautiful, he was the chief rabbi of England for a long time, an extraordinary human, and he was reflecting upon, like, what will we take away? Like, how will we be different? What story will we say about what's happening to us? And how do we learn that in my world? How do we learn that from the teachings around Passover? And for me, the question is, how do you find your new story? And how do you see that you have some choice in the story that you tell yourself about yourself, and then outward, about others, about the world, about what's happening, about what's possible? I have found it interesting because of listening to a really wide range of interpretations. Sorry, when someone tries to call in on the phone, it pauses the video. So the idea that we get to, that the story that we choose to tell ourselves actually affects our experience, that perception. Oh, our neighbor's dog sees me. She gets excited. The story that we choose to tell ourselves affects our perception of the world, right? Like perception creates reality. So if I live in a certain story, then I say that's what's happening. So the guy who told the story about it's not really the coronavirus making people sick, it's the 5G higher frequencies that are being spread around the world, right? Like, that's a really different story. And the person telling it is living in that story, has proof for that story, believes that story. Somebody else doesn't believe that story at all and is a doctor, and it says a whole other story. And then the spiritual people are saying, how do you lift up your how do you lift up your spiritual energy, your spiritual selves? Environmentalists look at the physical world. So what's your point of view? From where are you viewing? And that's why I'm always coming around back to this idea of leading from your lane, meaning what lights you up and how do you share that? So see if we can lean towards the new, lean towards creating beauty, creating creativity, art. Like I know you're reading Elizabeth Gilbert's book, Kay, and what can we do to be more creative? I taught that thing about in the Torah it says that Moses told Aaron to bring incense in during a time of a plague, to stop the dying, and the incense is all about lifting up to God, like lifting up spiritually. And so I feel like we're being asked to lift ourselves up out of our own constricted thinking, our own ways we play too small. This is that moment that I think we're being asked to expand and lead, like us who are our gang, our deep and a little wacky gang, who are connected to bringing light and joy and love and so forth out into the world. Like now is our time to lead from this place. And for me in my Jewish world, we're heading into Shabbat, and nobody can go to synagogue together, and we're coming into Passover, and our whole holiday, Passover, is all about inviting people to the Seder and celebrating together. No one could do that. And at the same time, I go online and see people singing to each other online and teaching and doing everything we can to be together. So we're so separated and we're figuring out how to be together. And it is a beautiful thing. And I feel particularly blessed because I already lead an online group of women who are extraordinary. Some of you are here. And we already have that, and it's so incredible and so nourishing and uplifting and healing and inspiring and awesome and super cool. So join if you haven't yet. It costs money. It's a commitment. It's a big deal, but it's so worth it, and so are you. So do something to nourish your soul, to inspire somebody, something creative, uplifting, connect to beauty, joy. This is the time to get back up over and over. People will have meltdowns, things will go hard. My older children are not finding it easy to just be home and not be with their friends. It's not easy. I feel kind of blessed. My life is not so different in certain ways because I already joked I don't get out much. I do my beautiful big walks, and I have my incredible online community, and I have my family, and it's truly a blessing. What are the blessings of your life? And for those people, there are so many people who are losing lives in such hard situations. So we send out that healing and that light. And then you don't have to go down there if that's not what's happening to you. You get to lift it up. If we're not in the front line of suffering, then it's our job to send out light and love and give and uplift each other. And that is what I'm seeing. It's beautiful. So just on my soapbox as usual, cheering you on to have that access to joy. How do you get there? Find your path into joy and bring it down and share it. It's going to heal you, nourish you. It's going to change our world. And we don't know how it's going to be next, but let's be part of the light. And, if you're one of those people who's really inspired to join my InStory year group, talk to me, because I am making all kinds of accommodations right now to make it possible for people, because I feel like that's what we're doing. Ramona, I'm going to be talking to you soon. So everybody, breathe. I like to say, breathe yourself bigger. Breathe up into the light. Here, I say hi to Hector. Look at that. See, there he is. So he came out to say hi to you also. To breathe in light and joy and shining and trust. Here's the thing. You have a soul story that's yours. That's your path and your way. And why am I stumbling around? Because there's something so essential about figuring out how to lead from your soul's story, from your soul's calling, and don't get pulled off track. Like recenter, realign to your higher calling, to your guidance from God, from your higher self. Realign to that higher calling and lead from there. This is where we are ready to contribute. Those of us who are already online and already connected, we can make a difference. So I'm here cheering you on, and share, uplift somebody. Make sure you take that time to nourish and uplift yourself, and tap into this opportunity to go deeper and to feel that soul calling, and trust your intuition. We just finished the InStory show on trusting your intuition, and it's such an important path. So I bless you all to trust your intuition, to stay spiritually uplifted, and let's see how much bigger we can play, how much bigger we can create our reach, our connections, the trusting of our souls. So connect with each other, reach out to me, stay uplifted. Shabbat Shalom for those of you who observe Shabbat. Have an amazing and beautiful weekend. May we see miracles and blessings and healing and joy, and may you be part of that. Sending you all love and blessings. Remember, as I always say, to go out in the world and share your story, live your purpose, and be a blessing. Bye, everybody.